This is this is a presentation about the Northwest Region Hospital Radio Network, and I will go through the genesis and the history of the network, and then pass it on to KO4JMH, Leroy, who will go into some detail about the Martha Jefferson Hospital, who is a member of this network. And after that, he will pass it back to me, where I will go through some more interesting stuff about the UVA node of this network, and also possibly talk about the overarching NVERS organization. So let's begin here. So we're talking about the Northwest Region Hospital Radio Network. I want to give a shout out to Greg KW6GB, who provided most of the information about the history here. He goes back a long ways with this, was involved from the very beginning, and has been and is still very involved in this. He's kind of the cat herder, if you will, of all the operators, and has instituted a Google email list where we all can keep in contact and whatnot. So here we go. 10 years ago, Warren County, this is over in Front Royal, the emergency manager there decided that they really wanted to have voice and digital communications between his EOC and the Warren Memorial Hospital at Front Royal. And once word of this got around, there were two other hospitals in the area that said, "Oh, I want to be included in that too. Me too, me too." So it expanded from there to the extent where it is now 14 hospitals, plus the regional healthcare coalition, which at that time was in Ruckersville, amazingly enough. And their office was about 2 blocks south of the stoplight at US 33 and on Route 29. So the grant was first solicited back in 2016, and Greg did not know and could not find out who the originator of that grant was. He did not know the person, and he is not aware of to whom the grant was addressed. So the money was out there and whatnot. So it came about that the grant was accepted, and there were 3 acquisition cycles over the first 3 or 4 years. So the equipment was identified, and we'll get into the details of that in the next slide. But the vendor was Ham Radio Outlet, and the installer was ComPros Incorporated. They're up in Pennsylvania. I think around their headquarters is in Altoona. A small company, probably 40 or 50 people or whatnot. So the installer took all the equipment and at each site did the installations. The first installation was finally accomplished back in September of 2018, and the 4 hospitals are listed there: Culpeper, Page, Warren, and Winchester. We'll note that the last one to get on board was here at UVA Health, and that was in May 2 years ago. The Northwest Region Hospital Coalition was absorbed. If you know, that's probably a really bad term to use, but it was taken over by the Northern Virginia Emergency Response System. And that is a much larger system. I can go into that later at the very end, but currently it is a 501c3 organization, charitable organization, so-called, but all the money comes from the federal government. So at any rate, the Ruckersville organization was moved up to Reston, and it is the equipment is not currently in the Reston Hospital Healthcare Center. It's as far as I know, it is at the home site of one of the folks who are involved in the NVERS, Northern Virginia Emergency Response System. So here's the equipment. Every single site, all 14 sites, were given the exact same equipment. The reason for this was to provide the capability for anyone in any of the hospitals anywhere to move over to another hospital that might need their support and whatnot, and thereby be familiar right off the bat with all the equipment that was there and available. So they, at that time, keep in mind this was back in 2015, 2016, when the grant and the buy was made. So it's Kenwood HF and VHF, as noted, and two power supplies, great big, humongous things, kind of like overdone, and then Pactor modem and a Cantronics packet modem. Yaesu, and the antenna systems are really nice. There's a Yaesu folded dipole for HF and a Diamond X510 vertical VHF UHF. These antennas are mounted on the roofs of each of the hospital healthcare centers and whatnot. And also, last but not least, the interface for all these is a Dell laptop computer. So here's where all these hospitals are. There are 14 of them, and they're all over the map, as you can see. There are two of them up in West Virginia. At the very top is Berkeley Springs, and then another one over in Romney at the Hampstead Hospital. The bulk of them are up and down the valley on the west side of the Blue Ridge. They go all the way from Winchester down to Lexington. And way over there at the bottom left, you'll see the Hot Springs operation over there. It's just about 2 miles, maybe a mile south of the resort over there at Hot Springs, the homestead. And you will note that there are 3 on this side of the ridge. There's 2 here in Charlottesville, the University of Virginia Healthcare Center, and also Martha Jefferson, Centera Martha Jefferson Hospital. And up there in Culpeper, that's one of the original sites. Way off to the right over there in Fairfax is where the what used to be in Ruckersville, the RHCC, the equipment was moved up there and is, as I said, currently in a private home of one of the employees until they get an operational center located within the hospital and whatnot in Reston. We do exercises every week, and it's coordinated with the WinLink Wednesday, which many of you may be familiar with. Greg Butler, KW6GB was the instigator of the WinLink Wednesday. Gosh, 6 years ago, something like that. So we do a check-in with the whatever the WinLink Wednesday message would be. There's a usual standard check-in, which tells you who you are, where you're from, and whatnot. But there's also the first Wednesday of the month is a weather uh, uh, line of that check-in, in addition to the who you are and where you're from. And then on the third Wednesday of each month, there's for WinLink Wednesday, there's uh, uh, an additional part of the check-in is to use an ICS form 213 to submit that usual check-in. But in addition to those standard stuff that we do every Wednesday, we do a hospital exercise. And those are strictly within the 14 hospitals, plus the NVERS overarching umbrella organization, who is included in this. There's a monthly rotation. This is a volunteer aspect to it. So, for instance, the month of February, Martha Jefferson Hospital, KO4JMH, is responsible for doing each of the Wednesday exercises for the entire month. And I'll show you an example of an exercise as we go through this. These are operator defined. Okay, the operator in that month's rotation, it may be the lead operator, and there in most cases there are multiple operators for the hospital, but each of those operators makes the exercises dependent upon whatever he wants, and it could be relative to forms that are available through the WinLink Express templates that are up there, that not just especially for hospitals, but also for general stuff. If you're not familiar with WinLink, there are probably 100, 200 different types of forms in various sub defined categories, if you will. There's hospital stuff, there's regular ICS, it's Incident Command System, by the way, ICS. There's also general hospital forms, and which could be bed availability for the hospital, or the blood type availability by hospital and whatnot. So, and after that, each Wednesday there will be a form 309. The 309 is an activity, a communications activity, showing all of the hospitals that participated in the exercise, and shows how what they provided to the operator. There's also a bi-monthly exercise, and this is run by the Northern Virginia Emergency Response System. They are responsible for it, and they deal with the emergency managers of the healthcare centers. This is not the overall emergency manager of UVA, for instance. It's specific to the hospital emergency managers. Here's an example of the type of exercise that we would do. This particular one was designed by the umbrella organization NVERS, and it it was supplied to us shortly after the hurricane went through and devastated Georgia and North Carolina, South Carolina, parts of Virginia, in particular, North Carolina. I don't know if you are aware of it or not, but 60% of all intravenous products are manufactured by Baxter Laboratories in North Cove, North Carolina. That particular production facility was devastated. It was completely destroyed. All the employees of that uh, uh, operation were also affected in their own home situations and whatnot. So back when the hurricane went through, the what they found out was that this particular production facility would not be back online until sometime in January or possibly later because of the total rebuild of the production facility and also trying to get the employees back on their feet and whatnot. So this exercise was to fill out a healthcare incident command system 213 and address it to the inverse facility and let them know certain items like how many of your IV products are manufactured by Baxter? Do you have enough on hand? What's your normal procedure for handling this and whatnot? I'll let you know that when it came to filling this form out, working with the University of Virginia emergency manager, 90% of all IV products were coming from North Cove. So they had a real worry about that, but they had a huge backlog, luckily. So to this date, they've been able to take care of it and whatnot. So that's basically what has been going on with the hospital emergency management and the uh, uh, the use of the radios and whatnot. But I'm going to pass it on now to Leroy KO4JMH, who is the lead operator over at Martha Jefferson Hospital in Charlottesville. And he will run you through his operation over there. It's going to have some pretty pictures, maybe even a real nice little video and whatnot. So, Leroy, you want to go ahead and take it over?
Okay, Warren, thanks. Lots of good information there. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
Okay. All right. Now, where's the share screen? You guys know?
Yeah, at the bottom in the center, green.
Bottom center. Sorry, I don't see that.
Warren, I think you have to stop sharing before he can share.
Oh,
I'm trying to get to. I know, John, but I'm trying to get to a place where I can.
Okay, I'm going to stop your sharing and then Leroy can start sharing.
Okay, thank you.
okay. I still don't see where to
On the
okay. Okay. Warren, thanks again. Very good information, and also took some of what I was going to say, and and you have a lot more experience than I do. So I'm from Martha Jefferson. I'm part of the team there, and the team is myself, KO4JMH, Dave Dammit, which everybody knows. I don't even have to say. And Peter, K4KEK. We sometimes rotate who's doing what. But most of the time, we all do everything. And what do? We maintain the amateur radios at Martha Jefferson, and we're prepared for emergency communications and practice that, as Warren alluded to. We exercise the equipment weekly, every Wednesday, and we participate in the weekly not weekly, but the Northwest Region Hospital subnet exercise. And then finally, we also do the NVERS biweekly exercise. This is just what Warren was talking about, the Northwest region. This is the whole Virginia, but the hospitals are scattered from here down to here and over here to Culpeper and Martha Jefferson and UVA. And as he said, we have about 14 hospitals. This is our operating position at Martha Jefferson. We're in the cafeteria annex, and we store the radios and everything in this cabinet that's locked. Then we take it out and put it up. Martha Jefferson is now proposing that they change this. They're going to put us, if you're looking at this, you look behind you, there's another countertop there, an ice machine, all that stuff. They're going to redo that part and put an actual desk there and shelves and things. It's where the antennas, the feed lines go to the connectors for the antennas. We just stand here and do the check-ins and check the messages. This is the area where they're talking about renovating. And this is the connectors for the feed lines to the antennas on we're on the 4th floor here. So the next above, and I'll show you that in a minute. That's me, and that's Peter. That's Peter and me. We switch off between the two of us. This is the 895 repeater that's located at Martha Jefferson, the floor above us. And this is the actual location in the hallway. That's Dave. And the repeater's over here. Yeah, it works. It works fine. And then this is to get to the roof and to the antennas, you have to go through this. So Dave's going to demonstrate how you get to it. I can skip ahead if you want me to.
No, this is great. It just goes to show that the getting to the top of the roof is much more difficult than most people would realize. And also, it's at the far end of the building from where the equipment is located.
And you got to climb a ladder.
Oh, the ladder's coming up. that the key to that lock is kept by facility management down in the basement of Martha Jeff, and you have to sign it out, so to speak, each time you want to go up and check the antenna, which normally we do at least once a year to verify that everything is copacetic, lines are not frayed, it's not lying down on the roof or anything like that.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So what Warren said, you have to try, and we actually sign in each day, each time we go at facilities management. They just have control. They do that with all vendors. So they use the same thing for their keys. This is the roof where the antennas are located. Just show that real quick. You got to walk down this. So it's, the point is, it's not a quick run up there and fix that antenna. It takes a bit to get there.
Yeah, the length of the building that Dave and you walked to get to the access door, now you have to walk all the way back.
All the way back. Yeah.
Note that there are other antennas up there that are, of course, not associated with the hospital operator network. Go ahead, Leroy.
Yeah, and so there's the dipole, and then the vertical. I don't know if we actually got that. I think we passed it there. Yeah. It's actually held very well with the weights. So yeah. And then this is the feed lines coming into for the antennas. Oops. Sorry, guys. You were going to say something, Warren?
No?
Oh, I thought you.
Go to it.
Okay. Um, and so that's the setup and the antennas and the 895 repeater. You saw our operating station or position. And actually, it's been quite satisfying for me to do this. I started doing this just after I got my license. Dave kind of scooped me up after I passed the test, um, and we go every Wednesday, and it's interesting. We try to make it more realistic sometimes. Like with the hurricane that came through North Carolina, gave an opportunity to have a realistic exercise, and the hospitals were very forthcoming with information about their IV fluids and how much they had and what they were doing. I know UVA did slow down their surgeries, their outpatient elective surgeries, because of concern about of their IV fluids, and they're trying to maintain those because in the hospital we use a lot of IV fluids. Most patients get an IV if they come in the ER, unless it's a simple sprained finger or fracture that's not doesn't need to be set or anything like that. But anybody that comes in with any kind of belly pain or chest pain or shortness of breath, they're going to get an IV. And any surgeries have IVs, obviously. So they actually slowed down. Martha Jefferson didn't have to do that. They had enough supply, they felt. And then we did a follow-up exercise to find out if everyone had enough IV fluids and so forth. So I think it's a worthwhile thing. In NVERS, they put out their exercise, which is always a point that is kind of relevant. One thing that happened with us at Martha Jefferson is our laptop crashed. We could not get it going again. We tried everything we could. There's no provision for replacement of the equipment. When they did the grant, they didn't set aside additional money in case they had problems. So we kind of scrambled around, and what we did was we started using our own laptops, and now we actually have 3 backups, myself, Dave, and Peter. And we can use any one of our laptops to do the exercise. Before, we only had the hospital one that we could. So that was a good thing that came out of that. Okay, Warren, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Leroy. Good job.
Thanks.
Hey,
I-
Warren, I had a real quick question. I'll put my hand down. I was curious. I thought the 895 repeater was at Buck's Elbow and Martha Jefferson was the 925. Is that right? Or am I backwards?
You're correct.
Okay. Well, I noticed in the presentation it was 895, so it got me a little confused because I'm about as sharp as a bowling ball and I confuse easily.
Yeah, I can tell by your photo.
Hey, that's my LinkedIn headshot. That's my money shot right there.
All right.
But that is just to make sure I'm right. That's the 925 at Martha Jefferson, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. If you can unshare, Leroy, so I can share my screen again.
All right, and
He's
okay,
unshared.
got it. Now I got the green, yeah. Huh?
Okay. John, I can share,
You can share.
right? Stand by a minute and I will try to get this into, if I can find it. Slideshow, there we go. Okay. This is Jay Kenyon, who is the Deputy Emergency Manager at UVA Health Center. And this little tiny video is going to show you from the roof of 1222 UVA Healthcare Center. It's at the corner of West Main and Jefferson Park Avenue. Except it doesn't want to move. You start over. We're going to go back to the beginning. Okay, this particular photo is something that's used at the facility where I am. Stand by a minute. It's a screensaver on all the computer monitors that are in the Blue Ridge Poison Center and maybe elsewhere. So I bring this up because I want to show you where the equipment, the radio equipment, is located. First of all, if you can see my mouse pointer, this is the main hospital over here to the left center. Over here is to give you a location. This is the rotunda at the University of Virginia. Over here on the far right-hand side, this building going this way is where the actual location of the radios are set up. It's within the Blue Ridge Poison Center on the 4th floor over there. And the parking garage that's associated with it, just to the very far right, is the Children's Hospital at UVA. This is a placard within any of the elevators at that particular building. There's a dentistry clinic. There's a sleep clinic, and there's on the 5th floor. There's a training center for stuff and whatnot. But on the 4th floor, in addition to the, excuse me a minute. in addition to the sleep clinic, is the Blue Ridge Poison Control Center. And that covers a huge area, probably about 2/3 of Virginia, all the way down to the North Carolina line and all the way up through the valley and whatnot, but does not go all the way over to Richmond. Here's the access on the fourth floor. I will note that this is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by at least one nurse, usually two during the more busy hours of the day and whatnot. And it's difficult to get into the building for we radio operators anytime out of normal office hours. That means difficult to get into on a weekend, difficult on a holiday, or anytime after business hours. I do have an access with John Gilday, who is the manager of the Blue Ridge Poison Center, where I can get access to the building, but it takes some prior coordination, probably usually a couple days or so. Here's the setup at UVA. The radio equipment is directly in front of you on the wall in the background. The laptop is in front of you, of course, and the two power supplies for the equipment are on the right. Picture this, if you will. This is in a room that is 15 feet by 20 feet in diameter in measurement. To the left of this operating position, there is a window. To the right of it, there's another window. To the left of it is our two operator positions for the nurses, and to the right of it, there is a large workspace desk, and just after that, two more workspaces for nurses who are on duty for the poison center and whatnot. Here's the equipment set up the way it is. On the left is the Kenwood HF TS480. On the right is the Kenwood D710. In the middle, the large item here is a Pactor modem. Right below it is the Cantronics packet modem, which is not used, and it has never been hooked up. I'll go into that in just a minute. And there's a signal link, and behind here is a master's communication DRA 50 for connection to the VHF radio. These have been put in place and donated by Dave K4D&D as a temporary move, because, as I said, I'll go into it in a little bit, just a little bit further. Those are the power supplies. Here's the roof. The antenna is, as you can see, up over here is the Yaesu folded dipole. On the right is the Diamond 510. This is the feed line coming from, and I will go to the next slide and show you where it's coming from, but goes over to here and then back, and it exits at this point and back down into the building and back in 2 floors below to the 4th floor where the radio equipment is set. Here's the feed line over here, and again the end point of the Yaesu folded dipole. This is Jay Kenyon, who is the Deputy Emergency Manager for UVA Health. So I'm trying to think now what I was going to say. Oh, regarding the equipment and whatnot, it's very difficult within the Blue Ridge Poison Center because those people are on the phone all the time, and they're dealing with real, actual, uh, uh, difficult situations with people are calling in, wondering, what do I do? My child, I'll swallow this, that, or the other thing. So we have a very hard time trying to keep quiet while they do their business. We're just there once a week. We're there for a good purpose, and they understand. They're trying to help uh, us and whatnot, but we have to be careful. So because of that, I donated a headset so that when we have to use HF or VHF voice communications as a part of an exercise, then we will not interfere with them except for our voice into the mic. They don't have to hear all the radio noise coming out and whatnot. As a matter of support, it's different at each of the 14 different sites. There's a site up in West Virginia that has absolutely great support for from the hospital. They have a line item for any difficulties that they have, replacement or repair of equipment or anything like that. At University of Virginia, we have good support. Well, let me say we have the good nodding support of the emergency manager, but we do not have the financial support if anything should go wrong with the equipment. We do not have any kind of access relative to the hospital itself. There's no internet connectivity whatsoever with the university IT systems. The only thing that we have if we need a browser is a guest account through the building where we're located and whatnot. We do not have financial support, as I said. Dave has donated signal links and the DRA 50s, and I've donated some software for various purposes and whatnot, but there's not willing support for any of that. At any rate, I can go into some more detail if anyone wishes to talk to you about the umbrella organization, the Northern Virginia Emergency Management System. It's out there if you look it up on the web, nvers.org, and it appears to be they're listed as a 503c1, 501c3, whatever it is. And I have found doing various look-arounds on the web and whatnot that all their money comes from the federal government, primarily, I believe, I don't know this for sure, but I believe it's through the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA. It's all grant money. The last thing I saw was for 2023 and $7.5 million. And there was a donation, total donations for the charity organization of $164. So I'll leave that to you and draw your own conclusions. But that's about it for me. I would love to address any questions from the whoever's out there and available. But first, I want to give some thanks to two people. Number one, Greg Butler, KW6GB, who's kind of like the head honcho and the cat rodeo meister who has to keep all the operators in abeyance, if you will, and also to Dave, K4D&D, who started at working with Greg when all this came about to identify locations for the equipment at both Martha Jefferson and also at the University of Virginia. And Dave also was and still is the primary recruiter for operators and whatnot. And a third person I want to recognize is K4UEK, who is a member of the club, but lives over in the Valley in Storage Draft. And Dave is an operator at the Augusta Medical Center and does weekly exercises over there. So let's break it out and let's hear any kind of questions or comments.
Could I clarify something?
Go to it.
When I said that the hospital didn't give us support, they don't have a line item, budget item, as Warren said about UVA. Same thing's true at Martha Jefferson. However, when we had the laptop problems, they did purchase a new laptop, although they have to program. They won't let us program it. So their IT people have to do it. It's taken them a long time to do that. But they did purchase one. So that was support.
But how long did it take to get that laptop online?
We still don't have it online.
There you go.
They have it in the office
For
just
10 months, 11 months?
Yeah. So
okay.
and
That's not what I call support.
Well, I mean, they could have just told us no. Yeah. But they have it in the office and they're just waiting to get IT to program it. I talked to Chrissy last week following up on it, and she apologized, but you know how it is with big businesses like Centera or UVA or other hospitals.
Sure. All right. Anyone in the audience, any comments, questions?
I just had one question regarding, was that UVA that you were having difficulties getting the computer for, or was it Martha Jeff?
Martha Jeff.
Okay. All right. Because I was going to say, if you need assistance over at UVA, please let me know.
I will. And I wonder, who are you and how do you fit into UVA?
Hold on one second. Tanya Peterson. I'm actually the transplant clinic manager, but also I used to work on on various different projects. So I have a little bit of knowledge as far as various different things over there. So if you need assistance, please let me know and I can try and roll up my contacts over there.
All right, we'll do that. I've also done some backdoor work. A real good friend of my son's is an IT guy over there, and he's working from his side too. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions, comments?
Yeah. Warren, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, a great presentation, guys, and very good information. Has there been any thought to having remote access to the UVA site since it's difficult to get to? And like right now, you probably can't drive there because of the snow. And if something comes up, would you be able to access the network?
Yes, we have worked that out. Working with the emergency manager, whose name is Shane Anderson, and if the need ever arose where there was no communications, they couldn't get hold of me or another operator or whatnot, they would send out a sheriff or a member of the state police to come and pick us up and take us to that facility.
Oh, very good. Okay. I was just thinking into something like remote access, with Windows Pro or whatever, and being able to operate from right there where you're sitting.
Well, I could do that, but the problem is we need to have the interoperability on the radios between facilities. The idea is that if there's a disaster or a terrorist event or anything like that, that we would be able to share information about resources that one hospital would have to make available to another hospital who is directly impacted or
Gotcha.
something.
Gotcha.
So if UVA was running really low on blood supplies or something, then perhaps they could work it out with Augusta Medical Center to get blood supplies over there. And with no communications available other than radio, that, you know, switching, you know, doing the communications back and forth is the way it would work.
Dennis, I think you're referring to operating the station remotely.
Correct.
And the problem with that is that you could do that, but the equipment has to be on all the time.
Right.
And that would be okay if you got all the people who were working in the phones in the poison control center were licensed, then you would have a control operator on site. And I think, you know, you definitely want to have that.
Sure.
So that would be kind of.
I want to make one other point, and I'm sorry I overlooked this. There are 3 people now at UVA who are operators. Dave is the first one, myself, and we have a person who is in training, so to speak, Scott, who let's see, is KK4TNX, who is in the engineering school at UVA, and he's done 3 or 4 rotations now, getting familiar with the equipment and whatnot over at UVA. And I'm sorry, Scott, I forgot to mention you. I really apologize for that. But that
no worries at all.
This is also not just a presentation. This is also a recruiting presentation. I'm looking for at least 1 or maybe 2 more people to come in and be qualified operators. The only requirement is a general license, and of course the necessary time and effort to put forth to coming in and do a once a week or once every other week, whatnot. It's really worthwhile. I think we're making headway with working with the emergency management over there. He's coming around real well, so we'll see how it works out. But again, I'm looking for other interested operators. That includes you, Bob, AK4BR, who said that you were really interested in public service. And as an employee of Virginia.edu, seems like you're right up there and really qualified.
Well, I want to thank you for not saying I work for UVA. That's a very strong word that we tend to avoid. I'm employed. I don't have it quite as cushy as Scott being faculty, but or John. You know, everybody knows faculty is you know, the hors d'oeuvres at 2 p.m. and the whole thing. And they have a grad student come in and put a log on their fire in their office fireplace. It's very nice being in faculty at UVA. Not people that work for a living like Tanya and me. So.
Hey, thinking of John, KK4JP, he is actually, John is actually, KK4JP is actually an alternate for both Martha Jefferson and UVA.
Great.
So,
well, you guys did a great job. Thanks for the presentation. Let's give them a round of applause. That was good stuff. It's never quite the same hearing that applause on Zoom.